Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Discover Aboriginal Experiences workshop. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a great session ahead with the lovely Dale Tilbrook. I'm going to share my screen and just start a little presentation for you. Very quick presentation, and then I'm going to hand over to Dale. One moment, please. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my screen now. My name is Nicole Mitchell, and I have the fabulous job of looking after our Discover Aboriginal Experiences collective here at Tourism Australia. So first thing I would like to do is acknowledge the traditional custodians on country throughout Australia and their connection to land, sea and community, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Tonight I'm coming from Sydney on Gadigal land. A little bit about Aboriginal Australia to start with. That beautiful map that you're looking at there is our cultural map of our many nation groups within Australia. There was originally 250 recorded languages and still 120 spoken today. We have the world's oldest living culture dating back at least 60,000 years. What Discover Aboriginal Experience is about, it's that flagship suite. We're showcasing this world's oldest living culture through awesome authenticity and connection. And that means that every single experience is Aboriginal guided. So the person who owns those stories are sharing those personal stories and insight, which is really a connection on storytelling. This here in Uluru, you're hearing about the Indigenous stories of Uluru. I was lucky to be there last week. Also really small group and engaging experiences. So it's a really immersive, interactive suite of experiences in the collective. And all of the experiences are trade ready for you. This map we're not going to go through because we don't have time, but to tell you we've got 47 fabulous businesses all around Australia and 185 different experiences. Everything from jumping on the back of a quad bike to fabulous foods, as we're finding out with Dale, to art, to going to the outback, to going to the Great Barrier Reef and exploring urban cities. I'm going to show you a quick 1-minute video just to give you a taste of the type of experiences available.
To connect our mind, body and soul to the land, we dance.
So I hope from that you're already wondering how to include experiences in your itineraries for Australia. And it's really about, lifting that great itinerary for Australia to an awesome level and making it more memorable. And it's about flavouring the experiences. So whether you're in Sydney, Perth, Melbourne, Uluru, Kakadu, we've got experiences that you can include throughout. So where can you find out more? Because I'm keen to hand over to Dale. We have a pile of resources and all of these resources have been loaded onto the platform. We have a portfolio, which is a trade-specific guide, which goes into minutiae of detail about all of the experiences. And also we have a consumer-style brochure. We've got a wealth of content. We've got a media kit, which a lot of our partners use for blogs and stories. And also we take a deep dive and meet some of our wonderful guides, our storytellers. Visual assets, we've got over 500 images. We've got video footage on all of the members that you can get for free. Aussie Specialist Program, our training program, and all available on this website as well. This presentation deck you will be able to download just in case you're trying to scribble that down. Also on australia.com. We also have a newsletter that you can sign up for, which you can click on the link. But there are my contact details. But what I would like to do is our most important for this evening is hand over to the wonderful Dale Tilbrook. As an introduction to Dale, I'm going to show you a short video of her experience so you can position yourself with Dale in Western Australia. Okay, so I'm handing over to the wonderful Dale, and she's also joined with Renee from Tourism Western Australia. So over to you, Dale. What we're going to do is Dale's going to run through some information and we're going to save some time for some questions at the end. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Kaya. Kaya means hello. Wanju, welcome. Nunyan Kwel Dale. My name is Dale Nun Wardandi Bibelman York. I'm a Wardandi Bibelman woman, which means my traditional Aboriginal country is around Busselton, Margaret River, Augusta, here in the southwest of Western Australia. Today, I'm joining you from the Swan Valley, which is where I operate my business from. And I have been here for about 25 years. So I think I know this like the back of my hand, just like my own country. And I am so happy that you're all joining us from the UK today. Sorry that you missed out on those videos, but I think the chat is saying that you can watch them later on. So what I'm going to do is talk to you about the wonderful ingredients that you have received to go along with the recipe. And I know that you're all wondering what they are and what is bush tucker. Bush tucker, Australian native edibles, bush food, many different terms to describe the same things, the food that Aboriginal people had available for them to eat throughout Australia. And of course, because we have climate changes and because the distances in Australia are vast, you're not going to find all of this food in every place. So the ingredients that I have shared with you have come from many different parts of Australia. And one of my favorite ones is this one. This is the lemon myrtle. So this one is one of the most popular of the Australian native herbs. It has absolutely amazing lemon lime flavors and aromas. It has the highest citral content of any plant in the world, which gives it the smell, which is often described as more lemon than lemon for this reason. Citral gives lemony things, their lemon flavors and smells. And it is a very versatile herb. It has no natural sweetness, so you can use it with sweet and savory dishes. So feel free to experiment with this one, not just use it with the recipe that we've given you, because there should be extras in the bags that you received. So if you're lucky enough to be able to access lemon myrtle leaves, you can make a tea from them as well. It's one of my favorite teas. It's my afternoon pick-me-up with a little bit of local honey. I'm just smelling it now as a pick-me-up. It's delicious, and you'll get those same aromas from the dried herbs that you've received. And it is a surprising herb as well because it's actually full of calcium and other antioxidants. So you'll find that a lot of the Australian native herbs and plants contain amazing amounts of nutrients. And so they often get called superfoods, but for us, they're just foods. And, you know, they're things that we like to share with people when they come to Australia. Some restaurants will feature Australian native edibles on their menu. So it's not just coming in and having a kangaroo kebab. Amazing ingredients used in restaurants and foods as well. So that is the lemon myrtle, and the lemon myrtle goes really well with the native pepper mix that we've sent you. So this is the native pepper leaf. This one is a found mostly in Tasmania, but also into Victoria and the upper reaches of New South Wales. It's an alpine rainforest tree, so it's going to be in those alpine regions. I'm not going to bite this one. I can snap it off and crush it up and get the amazing aromatics. This one's a bit sneaky because if you were to just eat one of these pepperberries or pepperberry from the same tree or the leaf, when you first taste it, it's just very aromatic, but then the heat will start to develop. I call it the gift that keeps on giving. So if you were to eat a whole pepperberry, for example, you'd think, oh, this is okay. This isn't very hot at all. But then the heat would start to develop, and then you'd find out it's really hot. It's a bit like Szechuan pepper, whereas Szechuan pepper is going to give you the heat at the front of your palate. This one is at the back of the palate. But an amazing peppery flavor and aromatic peppery flavor to add to your cooking. So that's the native pepper, and we also included some native thyme. So it's not related to the thyme that you'd be used to. It's actually plectranthus, and this one is plectranthus. Sorry, not plectranthus. Is it plectranthus? No, this one is prostanthera, and it's incisor. It gets called cutleaf mint when it's fresh. It's much more minty when it's fresh. And when it's dried, and you've obviously got a dried herb, it takes on those quite intense, thymy-like flavors and aromas. So enjoy that one. A little bit goes a long way. So another great favorite is saltbush. Now, saltbush is a great herb. I'm going to show you that you can just suck the saltiness off the leaf like that. And it's great for regenerating marginal country, because we have a great problem with salt coming to the surface here in land which has been cleared for farming. And planting this in marginal country helps to keep the salt below the surface. But it only works if something comes and takes the salt away. So that's either us eating the saltbush as a herb, and it's a great fodder crop as well, so we can feed it to animals. And if you feed this to sheep, for example, the quality of the meat is enhanced. So you not only get better flavor through the meat, but you actually get higher nutrient values as well, because this amazing plant is full of protein. And you know, you look at it and you think, protein in a plant? But yes, these leaves are full of protein, and the seeds are even more full of protein. So we would eat the leaves, we would harvest the seeds and grind them into flour traditionally as well, which we could mix with other plants that we've ground into flour as well. So when the Europeans first came here to Western Australia, their crops didn't do well, and they were looking around to find things to eat. And this was one of the plants that they used as a vegetable. They probably didn't realize at the time that they were doing themselves a lot of good by eating saltbush. And it's quite delicious. It gives a really salty, sagey, thymy sort of flavor when you use it in cooking. So if you had a recipe and you didn't have saltbush, you could substitute sage in that recipe. saltbush stands alone. I love that flavour. And if you ever come to Australia and you're lucky enough to get some saltbush like this, you can actually deep fry the leaves, and they make the best tasting salty snack, crisp salty snack that you'll ever have. So you can do that either as little branches or the individual leaves. So hopefully you'll come and join us for some of these wonderful snack ideas and feast ideas sometime in the future. So we've also sent you some sea parsley. So this is one of our sea vegetables. It grows, of course, not exactly a sea vegetable, more of a beach vegetable. It grows along the watery margins, along the beaches, and it looks a bit like parsley, tastes very much like parsley with a strong hint of celery. Wherever you use parsley, you can use sea parsley. And it has another form as well, sea celery. So this is more celery flavors, and yum. Eat them as a snack or include them in your cooking. So what else do we have? So I've just been talking about the herbs that we sent to you. And of course, you've also received some quandong jam. So what's a quandong? Some people call it a wild peach. It's not related to peach. And if you ate one, you would think that it was not very peachy. It doesn't look like a peach. It's actually quite tart. And when you eat the jam, you'll have a nice experience of a jam that's not too sweet, because we don't put too much sugar into it, because we want to retain the natural tartness of the fruit. So this one is actually part of the sandalwood family. This is Santalum acuminatum. And this is the bit that we use. Inside this is a big seed. So mostly we're throwing away the seed when we're making jam, but don't throw away the seed forever, because you actually can crack that seed open and eat the kernel inside. So because it's related to sandalwood, this is a sandalwood kernel. It's very similar. I haven't got any quandong kernels cracked today, because they're very hard to crack, those quandong seeds. But, you know, if you are patient, you can wait till quandongs are ripe, and that's September, October here in Western Australia. And in the bush, you might find all this emu poo studded with quandong seeds. So you can take the quandong seeds out of the emu poo and crack them much more easily, because the emus have no teeth. They're just going to go and down the hatch, and then the seed comes out the other end, pre-softened for you, because the digestive juices have worked on them. But the digestive juices don't go all the way through the seed, so it's safe to crack open the seed and eat the kernel. And I think you're going to see that at the moment with Renee showing us what the seed looks like. And the sandalwood kernel as well. I'm still eating sea parsley, so now I'll wash it down with a lovely sandalwood kernel. I bet you didn't know we had a tree nut other than macadamia nuts. Well, that's our sandalwood. So you've got to come and visit us here, probably to experience sandalwood nuts. Now, excuse me while I just quickly swallow my sandalwood nut.
Dale, while you're having your sandalwood nut, one of the questions that came up is, are these grown all over Australia?
No. As I mentioned at the beginning, not all the plants will grow everywhere in Australia. So they tend to be quite regional, local. you'll find the sea parsley around the southern coastline, sea parsley and sea celery. The lemon myrtle is native to Queensland, but it grows very well in other parts of Australia. So this actually came from my garden, as did all these herbs today. So this one's from the eastern coast as well, from Victoria, and it grows beautifully in my garden here. So now a lot of these things are grown, the popular ones are grown everywhere. And we encourage people to grow things for themselves or buy the dried herbs or fresh herbs if they can get them, rather than go into the bush and try and forage or pick them. In Western Australia, that's actually against the law. You're not allowed to go and do that. As Aboriginal people, we can go and forage for our food for cultural reasons. But if there's any commerciality, we need a license just like anybody else. So all our quandongs, for example, are picked by an Aboriginal person who has a license to do that. My brother and I used to go out and pick quandongs, but we don't really have time to do that now. So we buy them from another Aboriginal person who does have a license to pick them. So quandongs grow throughout the southern part of Australia. You often hear them referred to as desert quandongs, and there's this sort of misunderstanding, this miscomprehension that they only grow in desert areas, but in Western Australia, they grow from the Kimberley all the way down to Mount Barker. So that's a great chunk of Western Australia. So they grow out in the desert in WA, they'll grow in the wheat belt in the south here. So there's the inland varieties and the ones that grow along the coast. In Perth, you'll find them growing along the coast and up in our hills. So they are the major fruiting plant in the southwest of Western Australia. So great excitement when it was quandong season. So a very short season, only 6 weeks. So my freezers are full of these all year round so that we can, when we do our presentation, show people the fruit and make jam to share with them as well. Now we're coming to the end of my presentation, and I've barely been able to talk about all the things that we have sent you. So you can imagine that there's heaps more. And when you come to Australia, there is one other food that I think you must try, which is wattle seed. Now, we have got about 1,100 species of wattle seed in Australia, but only about 100 are edible. So if somebody says this is wattle, don't just run up to it and start eating it, because it may not be one of the edible ones. And not all of them are edible as green seeds. Some of them have to be dried. And we'd also roast them and process them. And one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite foods is it's high in protein, high in iron, high in zinc, high in magnesium. It's naturally low GI and has dietary fiber. It's a perfect food for women, and it's perfect for people with diabetes because of low GI. And I think I'm probably reaching the end of my time and should stop talking now and let Nicole field some questions.
Thanks very much, Dale. That's wonderful. And Dale runs some fabulous experiences that, when you come out to Australia or putting for your clients, that are bookable, commissionable experiences. I've sat down with Dale at a beautiful mundane estate for about an hour and a half, and I told Dale before I could listen to her forever and gain so much knowledge. A fabulous storyteller you are, Dale, so thank you. And apologies also, I'm seeing on the chat now that you didn't get to see that presentation. Not sure what happened there. We ran it a couple of times prior and it worked, but it is down there to download, so I'm really sorry about that. But a couple of questions, Dale, and that is, first of all, where can people buy the produce if they wanted to buy more? Because a lot of people are already saying they want to make the jam, all the kebabs, and can they also find out more recipes? So I know you're developing with your website, so perhaps you could fill everyone in on that.
Okay, so I do have on my new website, Dale Tilbrook Experiences, Dale's Outback Pantry is the shop where you can buy dried herbs and spices. I have a lot more product to load on there. I've been out doing more harvesting and gathering rather than spending time on my computer recently. So I will spend more time on my computer and load up more product, and I'll include on there some dried quandongs. And I'm not going to be able to send you fresh quandongs or frozen quandongs all the way in the UK, but we might be able to squeeze some dried quandongs through to you. And they rehydrate beautifully. So you just soak them in water and you've got the rehydrated fruit and you can make quandong jam. So I'll have to share a quandong jam recipe with you. It's really a bit of a trade secret, my quandong jam recipe. So
we might not share that one.
Yes, I'm wondering why I've just promised to share it. But, I'll have to share it now, or share a recipe with you. And you can play around with any of these recipes and add and take away. I'm in the process of writing a cookbook, so which is more of a story cookbook. It talks about the food the way I talk about it, face to face with people, or just like here, rather than just a collection of recipes. So I am developing more recipes, and I'll share more recipes on my website as well. So there are, other cookbooks available, but I will.
We need yours, Dale. We need yours.
We definitely need mine. Yes, I'll have to put the chocolate wattle seed biscuits up there because everybody loves those. I think I've shared those with Tourism Australia before for another event. So
you're making me
I'll have to do some loading up for you.
No, thanks, Dale. I just, the comments that are coming through, and everyone's finding this an amazing presentation and really informative, and comments such as, we could just listen to you forever, Dale, and that's absolutely how we feel. So if there's any more questions here. If there's any more questions, just in terms of the files, you'll see a files tab there, everybody. You can download the presentation deck that you didn't see, and please do that because I'd love you to see Dale's video in particular. And also, if you go to the Discover Aboriginal Experiences section, you'll be able to download the brochures with all of the experiences. So you can see what Dale's tours operate, how to book them, all the logistics for the 185 experiences in the collective. And I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So any last parting words, Dale, for everybody?
Jinang Buduwan, which means we'll see you later. So we look forward to welcoming you to the Swan Valley to share more with you. And I'm sure my colleagues in DAE would love to see you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks very much, Dale, and Renee there, who's been doing some filming, as you can see there from where we are, or where Dale is. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the sessions. I think you've got cultural attractions coming up very shortly, and I encourage you to join that other Signature Experiences collective presentation. So thanks, everybody. I can just see you all cooking now, and I'm sure Dale would love to see some photos of what you've made as well. So Dale's website is listed there, and in the chat or in the presentation that you'll see is also our Discover Aboriginal Experiences. Please sign up to our newsletter because we've got a lot of new news coming up. We're about to launch a particular website, and we keep you updated when Dale's cookbook will be out, most importantly. Thank you, everybody.